So, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we were discussing regulation. So regulation is defined as the no load voltage minus the full load voltage rated voltage divided by the rated voltage. That is, VT is the terminal voltage under when rated current is flowing. So there will be a change in terminal voltage as the load on the machine changes. However, in case of DC machine, you have seen that always the voltage will drop. But in case of synchronous machine, actually that voltage magnitude of VT, whether it will be less than EF or greater than EF, that depends on the power factor of the load. So because the nature of the armature reaction, whether it is magnetizing or demagnetizing, depends on the power factor. Now, so why the voltage regulation is important? That is because, say the machine is running at rated voltage. Now, if suddenly the load is thrown off, then the voltage will increase. Now, the rise in voltage should be known, and the reverse is also true. That is, if we start the machine at no load at rated voltage, then if we load the machine, it will the voltage will drop. That is, I am talking about an isolated machine, not a machine which is synchronized with the bus bar. Now, so as it is this machine is used as a generator, so we want that the terminal voltage should remain constant. So it is apparent that to make the terminal voltage remaining constant, we should control the excitation. And how we should control the excitation? For that, the regulation voltage regulation characteristic should be known. Otherwise, the automatic voltage control equipment cannot be designed. Then another point is the steady state short circuit condition, and stability is affected by the regulation because it is related to the generator characteristic. And when two machines are connected in parallel, then also the regulation should be known. Unless we know the regulation, we cannot operate them in parallel. Now, the first method, this one we discussed in the last class. This is EMF method or synchronous reactance method. This is the simplest one, where the assumptions we made that uh, all the MMF is required to establish the flux across the air gap. That is, we assume that the iron portion does not consume any MMF, which is not exactly true, but the iron is has large permeability, so the amount of MMF required to establish the flux across the air gap is quite large compared to that is MMF consumed by the iron portion, that is stator and rotor iron. So that portion is neglected. Then we neglect saturation, and so that is we tacitly assume that the iron has a constant permeability, and which is infinite with respect to air gap. So MMFs are replaced by their corresponding EMFs. Under this condition, we assume that each MMF induces an EMF. So, and we know that the angle between them is 90-degree lagging. So each MMF will induce a EMF lagging it by 90 degree. So we start with this MMF equation, that is the resultant MMF is the summation of field MMF and the armature reaction MMF. Is obviously a vector equation. Now, as this method, remember that it is only applicable for cylindrical rotor machine, because we assumed a constant reluctance for the air gap, which is only true if the machine is cylindrical. So if we divide the MMF by the constant air gap reluctance, then we will get the corresponding fluxes. So FR will create a flux phi r, which is a resultant flux, which is in turn summation of the flux created by the field MMF the flux created by the armature reaction EMF. Now each flux will induce a EMF. So ER is induced by phi R, EF is induced by phi F, and EAR is induced by phi AR. So ER can be expressed as minus JKFR, as ER is lagging FR or the inducing EMF by 90 degree, and K is the constant which is related to slope of the air gap line. Similarly, EF is minus JKFF and EAR is minus JKFA. So FA is equal to can be taken as C into IA, because IA is the current which is inducing the armature reaction FA, and we have neglected the saturation. So armature reaction MMF will be proportional to the current. So FA is CIA. So EAR can be written as JKCIA. So this CK can be expressed as XAR. So these are, you can, from the equation you can see it has the dimension of a reactance. So ER is equal to EF plus EAR. So ER is equal to EF minus JKCIA from here. So EF is equal to change the side. So ER plus JKCIA. So we get EF is equal to, now ER in turn is equal to VT plus IA into RA plus JXAL. That is how ER is defined. So if you replace it by in this equation, so we get EF is equal to VT plus IARA plus JIAXAL plus this, that is JXAR. So these two have the same dimension, can be clubbed together. So we can write EF is equal to VT plus IA into RA plus JXS. This XS is defined as the synchronous reactance. Now, synchronous reactance is a important concept. So this is a reactance which takes care of the voltage drop due to the leakage reactance as well as the change in voltage due to the armature reaction. So from that equation, the per phase equivalent circuit is very simple. We have a resistance in series with a reactance, synchronous reactance. This is the induced EMF. So there is a drop in the internal drop, and the rest will be the terminal voltage VT. So from this figure you can see that if we short circuit this terminal, then the current what is flowing is short circuit current. So for any particular value of IF, the induced EMF divided by the short circuit current will give us the synchronous impedance. So ZS is equal to RA plus JXS is given by EF for a value of IF divided by I short circuit for the same value of IF. So for different field current, we can calculate the value of synchronous impedance. RA can be measured by DC voltmeter ammeter method, and we can get the value of synchronous reactance. Now, synchronous impedance or synchronous reactance, if we plot with respect to IF, we will see that the plot is non-linear in nature. That is obvious because in the initial stage, when there is no saturation actually, then both the open circuit voltage and short circuit current are increasing linearly. So we will have a constant synchronous impedance. But once the saturation sets in, then OCC no longer increases proportionally. The increase in OCC will be less than that. So the value of synchronous impedance will decrease. So value of the synchronous impedance will decrease as the saturation state percentage of saturation increases. And that's why actually the value of synchronous reactance what we calculate from the open circuit and short circuit data is always more than the actual value, because this short circuit data, short circuit condition, the machine is unsaturated, we have seen earlier. And for the open circuit there is saturation, but the level of saturation under loaded condition is per mode. So under loaded condition machine will be highly saturated. So actual synchronous reactance the machine encounters when it runs with full load is less than the value what we get from the open circuit and short circuit test. That's why from the knowing the synchronous reactance we can calculate the regulation from this equation. Actually this RA is measured from voltmeter ammeter method. This is voltmeter ammeter method. Excess synchronous reactance is determined from open circuit short circuit test. We know VT, we know IA, we know the angle between VT and IA. So all the quantities on the right hand side is known, so we can determine EF. Knowing EF minus VT by VT will give you the regulation. But as I told that excess value what we determined from open circuit short circuit test is always more than the actual value. So the drop what is calculated here is more than the actual drop. So value of EF will be more than the actual. So the value of regulation what we calculate from this open circuit short circuit synchronous reactance method or EMF method is always more than the actual value of regulation. That's why this method is called pessimistic, because regulation should be as small as possible. So to take care of the saturation, some saturation factor is introduced. What is the saturation factor? Now for any voltage, air gap voltage, say ER, if there were no saturation, then the field current required should be up to this, that is up by from the air gap line OC. But as there is saturation, field current actually required is OB. So the ratio of this, that is OB by OC, is called the saturation factor. Now if we extend the air gap line and complete this triangle ODB, then FC and BD are parallel, is the base of the triangle. So OB by OC is also equal to BD by FC or BD by BA. That is saturation factor can be also defined as the for any particular field current, the voltage we obtain from the air gap line by the voltage we obtain from the OCC. That will give the saturation factor. So for saturated synchronous reactance method, first we determine the unsaturated synchronous reactance from this equation, that is EMF is from the air gap line for a particular value of IA divided by the short circuit value for the same value of IA from short circuit characteristic. So excess unsaturated will be root over of ZS unsaturated minus square minus RA square. So this is this has two components, that is the leakage reactance and the armature reaction component of unsaturated armature reaction. So the saturation will affect the armature reaction only, because leakage reactance is really not affected by saturation, because the leakage flux path is mainly through air. So the unsaturated XAR is excess AG minus XAL. XAL is known from that Portier reactance, the Portier triangle. So XSS, the saturated synchronous reactance, will be XAL plus XAR unsaturated by K, the saturation factor. Now from the same voltage equation, instead of XS, we will use XSS. So this will give a slightly better result because we have considered the saturation here. Now next method is called MMF method. Now EMF method, what we have done, we have started with from the MMF equation, and we assume that all MMF induces a EMF lagging it by 90 degree. MMF method, we will start with the EMF equation, and it is assumed that each and every EMF is, or each and every voltage is induced by an MMF which is leading it by 90 degree. So what is our voltage equation? It was this is EF is equal to VT plus IARA plus JIA into XAL plus XAR. Now each voltage is induced by an EMF leading it by 90 degrees. So EF is induced by an EMF which can be expressed as EF by minus JK. Similarly, VT by RA, these two are clubbed together. This is called the voltage behind the resistance. So this is induced by some MMF which is leading it by 90 degrees. So VT plus IARA by JK minus JK. Similarly, this voltage, that is leakage reactance drop and the armature reaction drop, that is also induced by some MMF leading it by 90 degree, which is given by this. So this will be EF by minus JK equal to, if we call this E dashed, so E dashed by minus JK minus this J will cancel out. So IA XAL by K minus IA XAR by K. Now EF by minus JK is nothing but EF, which induces nothing but FF, which induces EF. E dash by minus JK, say it is induced by FR1. This is not FR because FR was the MMF which was inducing the air gap voltage. Air gap voltage was VT plus IARA plus JIAXAL. That portion we have separated. So this is FR1. Now IAXAL by K is equal to, say, FAL, some MMF which induces the leakage impedance drop, and similarly IA XAR by K is, say, FA, the armature reaction MMF which creates the armature reaction voltage. So from here we will have FF is equal to FR1 minus FAL plus FA. Now what happens under condition? Now here we have drawn the OCC and the ZPFC curve. Now this is, say, VT, and the zero power factor current IA is flowing. So what is VT plus RA? VT plus RA will be E dashed. Now we know that RA is very small, so VT and E dashed will be almost equal. Now here again we assumed certain thing, that is, we assume that the relationship between E dashed and FR1 is given by OCC, because OCC actually is the plot between the open circuit voltage and the field current. Now under open circuit condition, field current is the resultant MMF. So it is assumed that any relationship between some induced voltage and field current, resultant MMF, is given by the OCC characteristic. So here we are considering the voltage behind the resistance, that is E dashed, which is created by FR1. So it is assumed that the relationship between OCC and FR1 is also given by OCC. So from here, E dashed and VT are almost equal. So corresponding to this voltage from the OCC, what we get is this MMF. So this is our FR1 according to our assumption. Again, this voltage is again VT also. So VT from corresponding to VT from the ZPFC, what we will get here is basically FF or the field MMF. Now come to the MMF diagram. Now FR1 leads E dashed by 90 degree. FA plus FAL is in phase with IA. So FR1 minus FA plus FAL will give you FF, this field MMF, which so this angle is very small. So our equation this equation, that is the field MMF was equal to FR1 minus FA plus FAL. This is a phasor equation. So under this condition, as the angle is very small, this FR1 and FA plus FAL are almost 180 degree out of phase. So our FA become approximately equal to FR1 plus FAL. This becomes the arithmetic equation. So this is our FF and this is our FR1. So difference between these two, this one is FA plus FAL. Now from here you can see that this is basically the shift between the OCC and ZPFC. So we have seen that for as ZPFC for a constant current, so from the OCC it is shifted downward by IAXAL and shifted on this side by FA, and ZPFC is parallel to OCC. So this shift remains constant. So this shift between OCC and ZPFC is constant. So the shift here is also should be FA plus FAL. So we need not have the zero power factor characteristic to determine the MMF drop from the for the MMF method. What we require is basically OCC and SCC. So first we find E dashed is equal to VT plus IARA, and from the OCC corresponding to E dashed we determine FR1. Now we find FAL plus FA from the short circuit characteristic, because this is basically a short circuit point. So this point should be obtainable from the short circuit characteristic corresponding to this value of current. That is, ZPSP is for a constant current. So the value of field current, field excitation for short circuit current equal to this current should be equal to FA plus FAL. So we get FA plus FAL from short circuit characteristic, and we calculate. Now when we are interested to calculate the regulation for any power factor. So what we have now, we know the value of FR1. So we know the value of FR1. So say here, see this phasor diagram here. What we have done so far, we have calculated VT plus IARA. So now we have E dashed corresponding to value of E dashed from the OCC. We have determined FR1. Now we start with voltage as the reference. This VT and IA and power factor angle, this is known, this is a measurable quantity. So with respect to VT, we know now position of E dashed. So with 90 degree to E dashed, we draw FR1. Okay. and FA plus FAL is parallel with IA. So this angle will be 90 degree plus this. Actually, this is theta minus this angle, 90 plus alpha, but actually this angle is very small, so approximately can taken at 90 plus theta. So we can get the value of FF, the resultant field MMF from here. So knowing FF from the OCC corresponding to this value of FF, we determine EF. So EF minus VT by VT will give you the regulation. Again, this method is optimistic. Why it is optimistic? Because this will give a value of regulation which is always less than the actual value of regulation. That is because what we have done, we have considered that FA plus FAL is which is the shift between OCC and ZPFC, and that remains constant for any condition. So, but actually, from here you can see that this FA plus FAL, this shift is constant up to the point when the characteristics are linear. Now, once the saturation has set in, so the value will be more than this. Value will be more than this. Here, actually, this straight line will be this. It has shifted the characteristic. So, due to saturation, the actual value at this point is more than FA plus FAL. So from this method, what we determine the regulation is always less than the actual value. So it is called optimistic. So we have discussed two methods, the EMF method and the MMF method. In EMF method, we start from the MMF equation and replaced all the MMF by their corresponding EMF. And we have seen that the method is pessimistic in nature. It will always give a value of regulation which is more than the actual value. Whereas in the MMF method, we started with the EMF equation and replaced all the EMF by their corresponding MMF, which is leading it by 90 degree. And we have seen that this method is, on the other hand, optimistic in nature because we have neglected saturation. And so the value of FA plus FAL, what we are considering from the short circuit characteristic, is actually less than the actual value. So it will show a less drop, a less change in voltage. So this is not also accurate, but why we studied this? Because this the main accurate method which are used for regulation, that is ASA method. One of the method is ASA method, or American Standard Association method, is basically based on the MMF method. What is done here? Say this is VT, this is IA. So PT, first of all, this OCC, SCC, and ZPFC, or at least a point of ZPFC characteristic should be known, so that we can construct the Portier triangle. So knowing short circuit characteristic, open circuit characteristic, and this zero power factor point, we construct this Portier triangle. So we know XAL and we know this FA. Now we know IA and VT and this angle theta. So VT plus IARA and IAXL is calculated, which will give you air gap voltage ER. So corresponding to air gap voltage, here you can see if there were no saturation, then the EMF required should be this one. But because of saturation, EMF required is this one. So what is done? We draw first the Portier triangle and determine the XAL. Now, we construct the MMF diagram for unsaturated condition, that is FR dashed corresponding to VT from air gap line is constructed. That is, in MMF method, what we did, this FR dashed was taken from the OCC. Instead of that, we calculate the voltage VT plus IARA. So corresponding to that, we get the value from the air gap line. Instead of the OCC, we get the value from the air gap line. So this was the MMF diagram for the MMF method. This FR1 was determined from the OCC. So with that, this FA plus FAL was added and we got FF. Now here what we do, we start with this OL is say FR1, but not from OCC but from the air gap line. Okay. Now this angle, we have seen that this is approximately equal to 90 plus theta. So at an angle 90 plus theta with it, we draw FA plus FAL. This is again determined from the short circuit characteristic as we have determined in case of MMF method. So these two when added will give you OM, which is unsaturated value of the result MMF. That is the unsaturated value of the MMF. And for saturation, we take from here, that is this is ER corresponding to ER. If the EMF MMF required is this KH from the air gap line, but actual MMF required is KF from the OCC. So this increased value HF is required due to saturation. So this is the effect of saturation. This HF is measured. So with this Mn is added, which is basically that saturation effect, difference between the air gap line and the OCC. So this On will give you the saturated resultant value of FF. So corresponding to this, from the OCC, we determine the air gap voltage EF, and we determine EF minus VT by VT to take the regulation. So just what are the steps? So FR dashed is determined corresponding to VT from air gap line, not the OCC. Then FA plus FAL is determined from short circuit test, and we draw the MMF diagram with FR1 and FA plus FAL. Angle between this is 90 plus theta, and we get unsaturated resultant MMF. Then we calculate ER corresponding to this, because we have already determined Portier triangle, so we know XL. So corresponding to ER, we determine HF, which is the difference between the air gap line and the OCC, which is saturation effect. So to give FF, this saturation, this HF portion is added to this unsaturated value. So corresponding to EF, FF, EF is determined from OCC. So EF minus VT by VT will be the regulation. So basically the American standardization method is a modification of the MMF method, and that's why MMF method is important. We have studied it. So basically what we do in case of MMF method, to draw the MMF diagram, we have determined FR1 from the OCC corresponding to VT plus IARA. Here corresponding to VT from the air gap line, we determine FR1, that is corresponding to BT in the air gap line. From the air gap line, this will be FR1, this distance. This is measured. Then the next component of MMF diagram was FA plus FAL, and that is similarly determined from the short circuit characteristic. So we draw this MMF diagram. This is FR1 and this is FA plus FAL. This angle is 90 plus theta, approximately 90 plus theta. So this is OM, is the unsaturated value of the excitation. So to take care of the saturation, what we do, we determine ER is equal to BT plus IARA plus IAXL. So corresponding to ER, this is the voltage, this is the field current corresponding to air gap line, and this is the field current corresponding to the OCC. So this difference HF is due to saturation. So this is measured and this is the saturation effect. So this HF is added here. So this is the saturated value. So this is FF. So from FF, this is FF. So corresponding to FF from OCC, we get EF. So this EF minus VT by VT will give you the regulation. So this method gives a good value of regulation, which gives reasonably close value to actual regulation. And just note one thing: when we were deriving this ASA method, we never assumed anything considering that constant air gap. So actually this method is applicable for salient pole machine also. Now another method is actually what is zero power factor method. This is obtained from the zero power factor characteristic. That is zero power factor characteristic we have discussed earlier. Now, so we have seen this characteristic is basically shifted from OCC by IAXL downwards and FA toward the right. So corresponding to for a constant value of current for which the zero power factor characteristic is experiment is performed, for this the value of armature reaction FA is known. So this method, what we required, SCC, OCC, SCC and ZPFC. We construct the Portier triangle and determine XAL and FAR. Sorry, normally I have expressed as FA, so this will be FA, the armature reaction. So now we determine ER is equal to BT plus IA into RA plus IA XAL. Now again the same thing we assume that the OCC gives the relationship between ER and FR, because OCC is the relation gives exact relationship between EF and FF. So we know now ER, that is this equation we are calculating for any other power factor, but obviously for the same current. So ER value we calculate. So from the OCC corresponding to ER we get FR. So the relationship between MMF we know, the resultant the field MMF is resultant MMF minus FA. So we know all the phasor positions. So from here we can determine FF. So corresponding to FF from the OCC we determine EF. So EF minus VT by VT will give you the regulation. So here also this method is also applicable for both cylindrical rotor machine and salient pole machine. So our ASA method and zero power factor method gives more or less good result for regulation calculation, and these two methods are both applicable for our cylindrical rotor machine and salient pole machine. So let us just take an problem. This is an example problem that the problem is 220 volt 50 hertz 6 pole star connected alternator has a resistance of 0.06 ohm per phase. The OCC and short circuit, open circuit, short circuit, and ZPF data are given. So this is IF, this is the open circuit voltage, this is short circuit current, and this is the zero power factor terminal voltage. Obviously, this is shifted, so this start from here. Now, found the regulation for full load of 40 ampere at 0.8 lagging power factor by different methods, that is EMF method, MMF method, ZPF method, ASM method, and saturated synchronous reactance method. Now, remember one thing, that whatever voltage is given in the equation, unless it is mentioned, it is always the line voltage, because line voltage is the voltage which is measurable. If the phase voltage is given, then it should be mentioned in the problem. If it is not mentioned, then it is the line voltage. That is one thing. Another thing, that it is star connected mentioned here. So obviously we get the phase voltage as 220 by root 3. But that is a rated terminal voltage. Now, if the connection is not mentioned, then always assume a star connection. Why? Because for a delta connection, what happens that for third and triplet frequency, delta is a closed winding. So third and triplet frequency current circulates in the delta winding, creating undue losses and heating. So delta connection is avoided. Another advantage is that if we have star connection, then the neutral is available, that can be grounded, and also we have two levels of voltage, the phase voltage and the line voltage. So normally large generators are star connected. There might be some special application where it is delta connected, but if it is not mentioned in the problem, then consider star connection. Okay. So the rated terminal voltage will be 220 by root 3. So this per phase voltage for OCC and ZPFC also should be converted to phase voltages. So all divided by root 3. Now first method is EMF method. So for the EMF method, this is our field current. This is our open circuit voltage. So we can calculate, this is the short circuit current. So we can calculate the ZS corresponding to this voltage by this current. So we can calculate ZS. You can see it is constant here, then it is gradually decreasing. Now we RA is given. So root over ZS square minus RA square will give you XS. So this is the value of synchronous reactance corresponding to this field currents. Now, considering this value, this is the all max minimum value it is available. That is, this is most saturated value what we can get here. Considering this value, our terminal voltage is 127 plus J0. We are taking VT as the reference. So IA will be 40. This is a magnitude and this is 0.8 lagging. So 0.8 minus J 0.6. So 32 minus J 24. So our EF will be VT plus IA into RA plus JXS. So you can calculate. So your EF value will be 195.5. So percentage regulation is not a vector difference. It is just the magnitude difference. So magnitude of EF minus magnitude of VT by VT, so it is 53.9%. Then come to the MMF method. Now MMF method, E dashed is VT plus IARA. So VT plus IA into RA. So this is the voltage behind the resistance. So magnitude of E dashed is 129. So corresponding to this, FR1 is determined from the OCC. It is found to be 1.69. And FA plus FA is found from the short circuit characteristic. This is 1.2. And this alpha value, as we have from here, VT is reference. So from here we can calculate. So you can see that this is almost equal to that value of theta, because theta, for 0.8 it will be 36, so it is almost equal. So it is available, so we have calculated it. So FR1 is 1. This was our phasor, voltage phasor reference, VT plus IARA. This is E dashed. So E dashed, with E dashed at 90 degree we have drawn FR1. So FR1 will be, this is 1.69 is the magnitude. So it is this considering this, we have added this angle is 90 plus alpha. So just resolving to according for this angle, or it can be this can be measured from here. That either you can do it by calculating, adding to this, or this 1.2 I have missed here. This FA plus FAL will be there. You can, or we can draw in the graph paper with this angle here, this magnitude taking a scale, and you can calculate FF from here. So from FF corresponding to the from the OCC we can get the value. Here this FR1 is just I have just calculated. So FF value is obtained as 2.59 ampere. So EF from OCC is 163.5 volt. So percentage regulation is 28.75. Now for the ZPFC method, OTR triangle we have to draw. Here this is OCC is drawn. This is the ZPFC. So this is for the rated voltage. So draw the line parallel to the x-axis from this point. Now draw a line. Now this distance we get from here. So this is AD. AD is cut equal to this. So through D point D, draw a line parallel with the air gap line. So it cuts the OCC at C. So from C, drop a perpendicular B. So ABC will be the Portier triangle. So from here, measured BC. So BC divided by IA will give XAL. So BA is the armature reaction MMF FA. So from the figure, what is got that XAL is equal to 0.75 ohm and FA is 0.84 ampere. Now ER is equal to VT plus IA into RA plus JXAL. So putting the values, we get a value of ER. So ER magnitude is 148.5 volt. So corresponding to this value from the OCC, we get a field current of 2.134 ampere. So FR is 2.134 ampere. So we have, this is VT. This is VT plus IERA plus IAXL. So ER. So this angle is beta. So for ER, corresponding to ER, we have calculated FR. So this is FR 90 degree to ER. Now, so this angle between FA and FR will be 90 plus beta plus theta. So this angle can be got. So we know this angle, we know FR, we know FA. So we can calculate FF. So here also we can either calculate like this, or you can just draw on a graph paper and measure the values. Now, obviously, when you do it by graphically or analytically, there will be slight difference. That error creeps in due to that manual error for graphs and other things. So from here, corresponding to this FF, we get the value of EF from OCC and get the percentage regulation, which is 33.07. Now, next is the ASA method. Now, the Portier triangle portion is already done. So, ER is this. So, corresponding to the difference between air gap line and OCC, the saturation effect is 0.366A. So, saturation effect will be this one, HF. Okay. Now, corresponding to VT, field current from air gap line is this. And FA plus FL is 1.2. This is same for the MMF method. So FF unsaturated value you can get from this equation. This magnitude is known, 1.507, and this is 1.2. The angle is 90 plus theta. So we get FF unsaturated, which is 2.425, and the effect of saturation is 0.366. So this is 2.791. So CC, this regulation is again 33.07. So that you can see these two values are same. So saturated synchronous reactance method. Here this is value of ER. So from air gap line, instead of the OCC, from the air gap line, the corresponding voltage will be this one. That is whether I have drawn it here or not. No, it is, I have not drawn. That is corresponding to ER. Whatever be the field current, corresponding the same field current, the voltage from the air gap line is this. So saturation effect will be ratio of these two voltages. So this is 1.207. Now XAL is this, we have already determined. So unsaturated synchronous reactance, this is from the air gap line divided by the short circuit current, rated current 40. So this is 2.5 ampere. This has two component, 0.75 plus 2. Saturated value, we have 2.5 minus 0.75. This portion is armature reaction component, which has the saturation effect. So this divided by 1.207. So this will be saturated synchronous reactance will be 2.2. So from the same equation, instead of x's, we put xx's. XSS. So the regulation is 51.2. It is see that it is almost slightly improved from the synchronous reactance method. It was something 53.9. This is 51.2. So both synchronous reactance methods are not that accurate. This one not that much deviating magnitude wise, but it is less than the actual value which we get from ZPFC or ASA method. So this is optimistic method. So this is the method. Either you can do it graphically or by calculating like this. So in any, but these data have to be provided so that we can calculate the regulation.